Hello everyone. Today's video is gonna be a little bit different, more of a just like a personal vlog. The past couple weeks have not been the best. Been dealing with a lot of stress and emotional stress, mostly having to do with my job. For anyone in retail, pretty sure you would know what kind of stress that brings. But for anyone who doesn't, my job mainly is, since I work in a clothing store, it's mainly have to do with just, you know, organizing, keeping things organized, putting things away, and which means folding a lot of shirts repeatedly. But yeah, just I had an incident that happened. Not sure how long it's been now, honestly. It's been a week at the very least, maybe a little bit more, but I just don't know how to process it. I mean, I talked to my family about it, which was extremely helpful. That was weird. It was helpful, of course, having someone to talk to about it. But at the same time, it just left me with more questions. Only because, like, well, let me start at the beginning. I hope you don't mind. I'm eating breakfast. It's still morning while I'm recording this. So I hope you're not one of the people like me, like who can't stand hearing people chew or like drink anything. Even though I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it now. I'm sorry, but I'm starving. Coffee. But anyways, what happened was this lady came in, and she didn't come in a car. No one dropped her off. She was like a walker, and I call people like that who come to the stores by walking or by bike. I call them walkers. Not like the Walking Dead kind of walkers, but sometimes it feels that way. Also, just egg on toast, something simple. But she came in, and like, first thing I noticed is she's like breathing hard, and her hair is drenched in sweat, like completely drenched. You think she like dipped her head in a tub. And of course, like in like the front of her shirt was like soaked with sweat, which it doesn't really bother me as much, but it's not really grossed me out, but like it concerned me a little bit that she might have to, you know, buy something but want to try it on first, that kind of thing. But anyways, I had to watch her, and at first it seems like, you know, just normal stuff, just curious about things. She walks over to the other counter that we have that I wasn't behind, to where the perfumes are and the colognes, and we have some of them out right on top with like little strips of paper that people can try, like test them. And she takes one of them, one of the women's perfumes, and she smells it first, and then next thing you know, she's like drowning herself in perfume. And I'm like, at first it kind of like irritates me just because people are like that cheap, but because sometimes people come in, they spray themselves and leave, like just they're just that cheap basically. But she doesn't like drowns herself in spray because probably because she was outside not too long ago and she stinks of sweat, I guess. Thankfully I didn't have to smell that. But she didn't do it once. No, that wasn't enough for her apparently. She did it twice. So she coats herself in perfume twice. I apologize if you can hear the fan. It's too hot to turn it off. Within a few months, I should be able to turn it off, hopefully. I miss the cold. But anyways, she sprays the perfume on, and then usually when people test it, they put it back how they found it. But she did something strange, which was the first like little red flag going up for me. And she, like, what we do is the owner, he cuts out like the shape of the perfume bottle or the cologne bottle itself on the top of the box, well, most like the face of the box, so he can like lay it down, and then the bottle just sits up and people could just take it out, smell it, just put it back in the box like that instead of trying to like open it and take it out. But instead of putting it back in that little slot that he made, she takes the box, she literally opens it like as to like put it back inside. She like closes it up and then just puts it back on the counter. And for me that was like a red flag. Like, what's so important about putting it back that way and not the way you found it? So what I do when people start acting strange like that is I take it and I put it back the way she found it, the way we had it, and but I put it back in the display case. And I don't just do that the one she grabbed. No. I do that with all of them, the perfumes and the colognes. That way there's nothing she can suddenly like grab for on her way out. But as I'm doing that, she was on her way towards the back, and our store, even though like it's a small store in the sense of not a lot of people come, only regulars, but the size itself is I would say it's not big enough to be like the size of like Walmart or Target. It's like Walgreens size big. Like, it's kind of big enough to take you a few seconds to get from the front to the back, but not so big that it's like gigantic. That kind of big on the inside. So she goes to the racks that are in the back, which in the back we have like the clearance racks, the stuff that we just want to get rid of, and some of the other like sweaters and stuff. She goes back there and she finds one of the long sleeve shirts, and when she comes back, I see, when she comes back to look around the area I was in, I see that that long sleeve maroon shirt that she has, she put it over the shirt that she's wearing, and which annoys me to no end, because if you're sweaty and you just came out from outside and you put it over your clothes that you've been sweating in, like, we can't resell that if it gets dirty. So some people are inconsiderate like that, so it just annoyed me. But then she goes back to where she was, but back there's a next to the the back room like doors, the swinging doors that we have that go to the storage area. We have a chair there that kind of just to kind of block it off, but she uses that as a seat, so she sits down, and this is while she still has one of our shirts on. She sits down and then like for a few seconds and then gets back up and then goes to one of, I feel like there's a ghost in the house. She gets back up and goes to the rack that has the men's basketball shorts, and she goes and grabs one, and again it's maroon, and then she goes back to the chair where she was at, but she kind of goes back and like to where she thinks I can't see her, and she puts that on and then sits back down, which again annoys me to no end, because one, she's sweaty, and two, that's not how you're supposed to try on clothes. So she sits back down, but then she likes looking around, and she sees something on the clearance rack, and what she sees is like a dark blue and gray baseball button-up shirt, and those types of shirts that we have back there. Oh my gosh, I swear my house is probably haunted. At least since yesterday. But that shirt that's back there is it's on clearance. So, and what, like the highest prices on clearance that we have is like $7. Just, guys, my room is haunted. Just because, you know, we want to get rid of it, so they're cheap. Okay, ignore it, ignore it. I'm gonna ignore it. They're cheap, so I mean, there's no problem if you have money. And by this time, like, I'm watching her like a hawk, because like, one, she's being creepy, and two, she's walking around, her eyes are very shifty, and which is sending off so many red flags and so much alarm bells in me that I'm starting to like have a panic attack by this point. Like, only because, like, one, she is a little bit taller than me. Two, she's like twice my size. Like, she's it sounds mean, but whatever. She's fatter, like twice my size, and I'm not that fat to begin with. Like I'm a little bit chubby, yes, but not enough that has to be to some concern. But she was definitely like, her clothes fit her tightly, basically, and that's very important to the story. But she grabs that baseball tee, and I see her walking in the back, going towards the back area to where we have the bathrooms. But one thing she should like notice right away before she gets to that is there's a counter there blocking that, and then there's a sign in where the empty space is for us to walk to get to the back room. But there's also a sign there that I personally made saying employees only, do not enter. And it's there perfectly visible for her to see. But she ignores that and keeps walking. And just before entering that hallway, we have another sign on a rope, and like with that red stop sign saying do not enter, and which she should be able to see because it's like eye level, like right there. but she passes it anyways. So at that point, I have to run back all the way back there. It takes me like a good like 2-3 seconds to get there because of course it's like big. And just before she like enters the bathroom, I tell her, you can't be back here. Like, you can't be back here. Basically, like, we don't have public bathrooms, so like there's no reason for her to be back there. So she goes like, oh, sorry, and when she talks to me, she doesn't talk to me like looking at me. She talks like through me, like she hears a voice, but she doesn't care. So she's like, oh, sorry, and starts walking back past me, and I tell her, it's like please don't try on the clothes like that. You can't be trying on the clothes like that. So she's like, oh, okay. And as we're walking back towards the front, she instead goes to one of the fitting rooms, or like the only fitting room that we have. Like technically we have 3, but 2 of them we use as storage, so basically we only have 1 working. But she goes in there to try them on, but she already has them on, so what's there to try? Anyways, I'm sorry if it's a little bit laggy. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyways, she's in there, and like the whole time she's in there, like all she does is like, I can still see her feet clearly, and it's like facing the mirror for like a good while, and then you see her like pacing inside that small room, and then you see her sitting down. And granted, she's still wearing our stuff, so she's not only she's getting them sweaty and smelly, but now she's getting them really dirty because the floor, people walk there, so their shoes are there and they bring dirt in, things like that, of course. And while she's in there, like, I'm keeping track of the time, excuse me, and the entire time she's in the store was an hour. And this, like, of course, again, I'm having like a silent panic attack this whole time. Like, my whole body is like shaking, and like everything inside my head is screaming. It's like, I wish somebody was here with me, because I'm by myself. Like, the one day she picks to come in is when the owner, my boss, is like not there, and I was supposed to like close by myself. Usually that's no big deal. I mean, small store, we only get regular customers, which are pretty much like older gentlemen who need their shirts in their size, basically. So I didn't care because it was on a Monday, and Mondays are extremely slow. But since it was extremely slow, which made it extremely worse, for me at least. So, well, the entire time she's in there, like, I'm watching her like do this whole pacing thing and sitting and just staring at herself in the mirror, I guess, or whatever she's doing in there. The moment she comes out, that's when things start to get worse. The moment she comes out, like, the 2 things that she was wearing plus the baseball button-up button-up jersey, I should say, they were like immediately gone. I say in quotes gone because, again, she's twice my size and her clothes fit her very tightly, so you can easily see everything. You can easily see like everything stuffed under her clothes. Her clothes she was wearing are black, like basically booty shorts, which for one, I mean, I'm not judging on people like choice of clothes, but like her choices were like very poor. She's wearing, especially like someone who came in to do something like this. She's wearing black, like basically like booty shorts, which are tighter on her, and she's wearing a short sleeve, like semi see-through yellow shirt, and you can see the maroon shorts that were over her clothes at one point. They're now under her clothes, but she did such a poor job at this that like behind, like under her shorts in the back, you can clearly see the maroon shorts peeking out. And at this point I am just like angry, like fuming. If that was a cartoon, you'd see steam coming out of my ears. And for the baseball t-shirt, you can clearly see it stuffed under the sleeves, stuffed under like her sleeve right here. The collar is popping out like this, and like her shirt starts right here, so it's like there's a good like half inch popping out. And then you can clearly see on her like the rest, basically, because her shirt is semi see-through. And this whole time, like, I have my phone out and I took pictures of what she was doing, because again, alarm bells were going off. So I'm like, she's not doing this to me. She's not gonna, these people aren't gonna keep doing this to me, and I'm not gonna just stand here and just go, oh, there goes another one. Like, I mean, I hate confrontation like with my entire being so much it makes me shake. But not because I'm angry, because it scares me like to no end. And then this entire time, like, I was terrified because she's bigger than me and she's taller than me, and I'm like I'm not damsel in distress, okay? That's like, I will hold my own if I have to, but at this point, like, my body and my physical condition is not great, so I can't get into any physical confrontations and expect to win. So I like very sternly tell her, like, as she's trying to walk around and like shop more, I sternly tell her, it's like, you need to take those off right now because they are not yours. And she turns to me and she goes, oh, these are my clothes, I came in with them. I'm like, yes, the ones on top, those are your clothes, those you came in with. The ones underneath, however, are not. Those you need to take off because those are ours. And again, she's like arguing, no, these are my clothes, I came in like this. And basically she's trying to deny the whole fact that she's pretty much stupid and she can clearly see everything. So again, I tell her, yes, the one on top, your yellow shirt and black shorts, those are your clothes that you came in with. The maroon shorts and the jersey underneath are not. And I know for a fact that they're not still in the dressing room because before I confronted her, I went to check. Because one thing my parents taught me, especially my mom, because she's been a manager for like around 30 years, or like for whichever company she ever worked for, like she was always like manager or even like district manager at one time. So she's learned a lot, and I was always there most of the time with her, or she always told me stories about this, so I learned a lot. And what I learned most is don't assume anything, because then they can turn that around and kind of try to like blame you for it and like pin you, like try to make you feel guilty, like for like basically profiling them. So I went into the dressing room first to check The only thing she left in there was the maroon long sleeve that she put over her shirt in the beginning. And then there's like the empty hangers that had the other two. So there's only one thing in there. She went in there with 3 things. Now the other 2 are magically gone. And she's saying, like, oh, these are my clothes. Right. So I confronted her. And then this whole time, I take like 3 pictures of her when she was in the back. And then when I confronted her, I take 2 clear as day pictures of her whole body. Because, like, I was tired of people trying to, like, basically trying to get away with things. And we do have security cameras, but again, it's an old shop, and he only has regulars, so he can't afford like high definition security system and, you know, security guards and things like that. So the system we do have is like pretty old, like kind of like the gas stations quality old. So I take pictures myself of her because I know that they'll be useful later, and they were. But this whole time I keep arguing with her, you can either take those off and leave, or you can talk to the officer that I'm going to definitely call. And then she crosses her arms like I just offended her and leans against one of the display cases, and this whole time I'm blocking her, like, from her. I'm in between her and the door, so she knows that I'm not gonna just like say, oh, okay, I'm sorry, and let her leave. No. So she crosses her arms and she's standing there like, fine, go ahead. And so I start to dial, and this whole time then she realizes that I'm really dialing. So she's like stands straight again and starts walking, and so do I. I stay in front of her, but she pretends like she's walking to the chairs to go sit down to wait, because we have chairs there, like 4 of them, mostly just for like elders that come in and need somewhere to sit while people shop. But excuse me. But she sits down, and I keep dialing, and I'm almost, and just when I'm about to hit like send, and at this point I'm at the door, and I have my arm on like the door while I'm in front of another, because it's like the double doors, but I have my hand on one of them on the rail, like that helps you push, and I'm in front of the other one, the other half, like, so that way she knows I'm not moving. So at this point, as soon as I'm almost done dialing, she gets up and she tries to just walk out past me, and I'm like firmly holding on as like hard as I can, which of course is not that great, because again, my physical condition is not like one that can match a person twice my size. But she's struggling with me with me and the door, basically trying to get in between the space that's between me and the door. And this whole time I do not touch her once, because I know for a fact people like her can just turn around and say, oh, well, I want to press charges against her because she physically abused me and things like that. The whole time I'm only holding on to the door and struggling to close the door. I do not touch her, but she touches me, and that's when like everything in my whole being just like almost shuts down, because she physically pushes me like not enough to like where I'm forced to the floor, but she physically pushes me aside where I have to let go. And then she gets out the door and leaves. And of course I do call for an officer, but that's what shook me up the most. I've never ever had been in a physical confrontation before in my entire life, and there's a reason for that, because I cannot fight to save my life if it came down to that. So the fact that it happened when I was alone and I had no one to help me, that's what shook me. And of course I show the police officers like the pictures, and the pictures themselves have the timestamp, so they clearly have the whole incident like down to the minute. And the 2 pictures that I show them that are clear as day of her whole body, he laughs and it's like you can clearly see everything under her clothes. So like if they ever do somehow catch her, like they definitely have enough to charge her, because it's clear as day. But after I filed the police report and everything, of course I like called my boss to tell him, because he wasn't there. Usually he's there on Mondays in the afternoons because he has meetings in the morning. But that day he wasn't able to come in, so I just, closed for him. But I called him. Of course, there was nothing much he could do, because he was so far that day. So instead he's like, just go ahead, close early. I don't mind. And just, because that's all he could do. So I ended up closing like an hour early. And like at that time, like I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to be alone anymore for myself that day. So instead I just went to my best friend's house. And I called her after I called my boss, and I couldn't hold my tears in anymore. I called her crying, and I'm not the type of person to let people see me or hear me cry. Like if you're like me, you're a silent crier. Like you make no sound. That way no one knows when any moment when you're crying. Even if like they're on the other side of a door, they can't hear you. That's the type I am. So I called her, and she heard like my voice instantly, like what happened, what's wrong, because she knows like anytime I'm with her I'm just happy. I've never been sad in front of her. So I tell her everything that happened, and she's like, is there anything I can do? It's like, I'm really worried. So I tell her after work, I don't want to be alone, so I'll just come over. She's like, yeah, that's fine. Come on over. And I do the entire, and when I go the entire drive there, it takes me from where I work to her house, it takes me a good 25 minutes, I guess, to get there on the freeway. But the entire ride there, I could not stop my tears from falling. And when I step into her house, it stopped. I could, my eyes were dry at that point a little bit, but as soon as I sat down and she asked if I was okay, and if she asked, and did you cry the whole way here? She could tell I did. That's when I couldn't hold it anymore. Like, I cried my eyes out for like a good few minutes. Like, the whole thing scared me. Scared me so much that now there's a part of me that wants to quit. But of course, there's always a part of me that wanted to quit. Not because I hate where I'm working. Like, I hate my job or my boss, because I don't. I love my boss so much. Like, I respect him so much. But at the same time, the people. I'm not saying everyone, because of course not everyone. Because of course most of the people that come in are regulars, but that I gradually got to know. Especially the elders. The elders I love the most because they come in with stories. Most of them are veterans, so they come in with some stories. And of course, they come in for shirts, but most of the time, elders, they just want someone to tell their stories to. And I love hearing them, so I don't mind. But after this incident, like, now I can't take it. Because I keep thinking, like, I'm lucky now. Because what if, like, it could have been the fact that she was just a woman who came in with nothing. But she could have been someone so much worse. She could have been a guy who was like 3 times stronger than me, like twice this, like not twice my size, but even more. Because one, I'm short. I'm like 5'4", so I'm under 5'5". I'm considered fun size. But what if it was a guy with extremely bad intentions, and what if he came in with something very dangerous? Like, I'm lucky now, but what if it happens next time? And what if next time is even worse? And of course, it's just, I'm not sure what to do now. Because at this point in my life, like, there's so much stuff I want to do. But at the same time, I have no funds for it. I barely have enough to survive and pay my bills. Which is why, like, I'm giving YouTube a try. Like, maybe I can make something out of it. Enough to say, like, hey, this is what I do for a living. Because for anyone who's seen my other videos knows I'm not much of a people person, especially when it comes to like first time meeting for the first time. Like I'm very cautious, and this just made me even more so. So now, like, I want to be able to, like, I want to be able to tell my story and, like, help people out in any way I can. But at the same time, like, I don't want to actually be there in person anymore. Just, like, this incident made me even more afraid of people. And of course people are gonna say, like, don't let one woman influence your whole view on people, but again, like, my thoughts and emotions run deeper than that, so logically my mind knows that is true. I mean, she's just one person, but at the same time, like, at the same time, my emotions are like, there's so much more going on. And now, everything that I've been keeping at bay, everything that I've been able to, like, deal with, now comes to the surface. Just like if a dam broke and she was, like, that last stone that basically cracked it wide open. So now I'm not sure what to do now. Of course, like, I talked with my family, I talked with mostly my dad and my stepmom and my younger siblings about it. And of course it helps. But of course, like, the thoughts are still there. It helps with my like anxiety and my emotions, and after a good 2 days, my arms and my legs stop shaking. But the thoughts are still there. Like, I'm at the point in my life where I'm getting older and my health concerns me even more. But at the same time, like, I don't have insurance. For me, insurance on anything is a luxury. Even though people are, like, mostly like older generations are saying insurance, like, you should always have insurance. Like, it's not only a necessity, but like, you're supposed to have it. Like, but they don't understand. Like, I can barely afford my monthly bills, and I can barely afford food. And so what makes you think I can afford, like, going to the doctors for something so expensive? What makes you think I can go to a dentist to help fix a broken tooth? Which, by the way, I do have one. And up here I have a cavity. My darn sweet tooth gets me in trouble. But what makes you think I can afford any of that? And on top of that, there's so much I want to do on my own. There's so many places I want to go, but I can't afford any of that. So now I'm just... And so on top of that, the fact that it's already been over a month, close to a month and a half, and a part of me feels like I'm not doing a very great job. Like those thoughts keep coming back, like, you're not good enough, like, people don't like you, they just click just for curiosity but end up leaving anyways. That's why no one is subscribing. That's why, like, you're not getting as many views as you think you should be at this point. Of course, those thoughts start coming. So, but I talked to my friend about it. Not the one I called, but my friend Dea. I talked to her about it, and she told me that I completely understand. That's, like, I had those thoughts too, like, but, like, it takes at least a year before you see, like, a huge change. It's like, it takes at least a year before you start to see things really change and really pick up pace. Which, like, logically, that makes sense. Like, it takes time for like, it takes time for YouTube in general to notice a pattern when it comes to you, to suggest you more, like, and say, hey, a lot of people are watching this person, maybe you want to too. So, like, there's many things I can't help but, you know, feel. But at the same time, I know logically it's like, there's no point in feeling that because it makes no sense. So I'm always in this constant battle. I'm always in this constant fight with myself. And this past couple weeks, even more so. Which is why I haven't been really posting as much as I wanted. I wanted to eventually like do at least one a day, or at least maybe every other day. But after that happened, I'm like, I'm such a mess. I don't know what like I want anymore. So yeah. But that's just what I wanted to say. And for anyone going through the same thing, like, now you know I'm the same as you. I have troubles with it too. But as long as I have one person that understands, then it doesn't feel like a complete loss. So now that you know that you at least have one person that understands me, because I've been through it, as you know now. But yeah. I don't remember how I close these anymore. But if there's anything you want to say, you can leave it in the comments if you want. If there's any story you want to tell, I'd really like to hear it. Yeah. I hope things turn around soon, or eventually. It'd be nice to actually have something to show you guys more than just these two walls in the background and my TV. It'd be nice to actually go out and show you more things. But that's where I am right now. So if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around. Yeah, I'll see you later.